order. Do roll call. District 1, Ken.
Present.
District 2, Wendy.
Present.
District 3, Aaron.
I'm present.
District 4, Bob. Present. And District 5, Lee.
Present.
Okay, we have a quorum. We'll open it up for 3 minutes of public comments. Then we'll also, when it comes to the budget hearing, if there's some comments pertaining just to the budget, we'll do those at that time. So is there any public comments anyone wants to speak in regards to anything not budget related?
Adrian Norris is the only person on the list.
Okay, go ahead.
So I guess I don't need to stand. So last month I discussed the header that you have on your reconsideration form, talking about the Supreme Court taking it as a whole. And I argued that while I understand that concept of maybe banning a book or discontinuing a book from the library, you know, we have ratings on movies and we discuss the movie system on how they rate. The whole movie doesn't have to be bad. It just has to be a certain amount of sections that creates what they're going to decide, whether it's G all the way up to R, or even, I don't know what's after R, but
X.
yeah, I don't know. I've never seen one. So anyways, I asked you guys afterwards if you guys would be interested in having this discussion and potentially voting on it. And unfortunately I didn't see it on the agenda, so I'm concerned. I just want to give you a friendly reminder. I'll re-email you guys tonight my argument last month to discuss the movie ratings and how they utilize that. And they protect the children's section with movies, or children viewing with movies without the parents' guidance. And I would hope that you guys would implement that also with this reconsideration form, because what you're doing when you're putting it at the header, the first thing that a person reads is you're saying, well, it's not in the whole book, so or the material, so you're actually, I could see that you're actually going to hinder people or intimidate people into filling out that application. I remember a few months ago when you guys were discussing the what is the name of the Libby, the custodium, or I forget what it's called, the online ordering, I mean, where people can get books online. And I remember you guys discussing putting a header on that, on a warning label, and your ultimate answer was there was no need to do it because it was already in the policy. So as you know, this header statement is already in the policy. So it doesn't need to be on this reconsideration form, because all you're doing is intimidating someone, or at least that's the way I feel. I'm not saying you're intentionally doing it, but it intimidates someone thinking, well, it's only 5 pages in the whole book, so I'm not going to fill out this because they're going to not do anything. Now, as you know, the American Library Association promotes this. In their Intellectual Freedom Office department, they actually are teaching librarians to put this on their reconsideration forms in their policy, and when a parent comes or an adult comes to do reconsideration, to advise at the beginning of the meeting that the Supreme Court takes these books as a whole. That is an American Library Association training. I don't know where you guys are getting that, because apparently all of y'all have claimed that nobody is a part of the American Library Association at Boundary County Library. So, and I also know that the Idaho Commission for Libraries is not.
That's
so
your time.
where are you getting it from? I don't know. Please vote on it. Thank you.
Thank you. So no further public comments. We'll get into our first agenda item, approval of the minutes. And do we have any corrections or that anyone wants to make to the minutes? Okay, finding none, could we get a motion for approval of the minutes as presented? I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes from July 20th, 2023 at our 10 o'clock meeting. Do we have a second?
I second it.
Okay, motion been made and seconded. Hearing no further discussion, we'll approve the minutes as presented. Thank you.
Can we vote?
Oh, All in favor of approval of the minutes as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Is that an aye from you, Ken? Say again. Are you there, Ken?
I'm there, in the dead zone.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we're just taking a roll call on the approval of the minutes. And we're all in favor and just waiting for your
So I
response.
said aye.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Okay, all right, thank you. Okay, the minutes are approved as presented. Thanks, Aaron. Okay, we'll now open up for public budget hearing. Do you have anyone in the audience that wants to speak in regards to the budget at all?
I just have a question, I'm hoping you'll answer it. Why is the utility so high? It's like, what is it, like $1,000 a month?
Now, let's see, the utilities. Well, I know we're gas on the heating and electric on
Oh,
air.
is that natural or propane?
What's that, the gas? That's what-
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and let's see on the.
Essentially, because the library's in town and. all
Probably
the
poorly
utilities-
insulated,
yeah.
all of the above.
I mean, it's a concrete block building, but it's got a flat roof.
Somebody was mentioning that potentially the library was giving electricity to outside.
No, I don't know if there's any way to tap in.
Okay.
How would that happen?
Yeah.
I mean,
Mu-
maybe
Mugsy's or-
Sandy would know.
Mugsy's or Jean's OK Tire are the only places they could get it.
Yeah, the tire shop is what I was advised potentially,
No,
that the
it's-
electricity was being tapped in by outside.
I don't think that's, so that's
Okay.
something that the city would manage because we don't, but everybody gets their own meter.
Okay.
Because it's water, it's electric, it's gas, it's telephone.
I mean, the transformers are sitting there in the middle of the parking lot, you can see.
Yeah, and also the flag is not a part of that, right? The
The
flag.
flag
No.
park and all that is.
We own the
associated with
corner, we own the corner of the sidewalk there.
Mhm.
And then it's city property beyond that, the Memorial Park.
All that east of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Our director did a narrative on, kind of an overview on the budget, and it's a little bit lengthy, but if you folks would like to hear it, I can certainly read it.
Yeah.
Okay? Moving forward into the next budget year, proposed budget reflects the need and the importance of returning to the BCLD's foundational strengths as a community library, meeting the ever-changing needs of the community for the best possible library resources and services has always been a challenge. During the library's 110-year history, it has become even more challenging in today's rapidly changing world. BCLD's leadership commitment to the community is a bedrock. The BCLD's award-winning services and resources are built upon. That commitment by BCLD trustees, director, and staff will continue to undergird the library district's future development as a valued, relevant community educational resource for all the people of Boundary County. The proposed 23-24 budget will focus on rebuilding and strengthening the library district's award-winning services such as stellar patron service, a broad range of library resources, exemplary programming for both adults and children, a wonderful fab lab, and increased hours of operation for greater convenience. BCLD trustees, director, and staff are well aware of the need to rebuild our foundation of trust and reliable library service for all the people of Boundary County. We look forward to the opportunity to serve our community, ever grateful for the community's longstanding support of the library. On personnel, we have been diligently working to expand our staff and our services. 4 new part-time adult employees have been hired, as well as 2 new team pages to specifically help Terry and Peggy in the children's services. Peggy is a former staff member who returned to the library as a volunteer in July of 2021. New staff members are doing an excellent job learning the particulars of the work and are continuing our tradition of friendly professional customer service. This next year, our goal is to continue to strive for even higher levels of service delivery through training and practice to improve both performance and proficiencies, as well as acquire and perfect new skill sets. Under collection development, for the past several years, significant funding focus has been concentrated on getting our amazing Fab Lab established and operational. Currently, we're right on track with that goal, which will now allow us to switch more funding resources to our materials budget. In preparation for a refreshing of the library's collection of materials, staff have thinned the adult book collection and are working on the adult nonfiction, as well as the library's collection of large print and westerns. The increased funding will be used to reassemble the collection with more current, relevant materials. The goal applies to our digital collection as well. We have had this resource available for some time with our ability to partner with other libraries, making it possible for patrons to have access to thousands of titles through this shared service. Our usage statistics for the Libby Overdrive continue to climb every year, averaging 256 checkouts monthly between June 22 and June of 23. Our goal this budget year is to focus and build on that usage by creating a more tailored collection and promoting this service more extensively. In addition to the more material selection, more training hours are planned for staff to make this outstanding digital service easily accessible to more patrons. Programming and other operational needs. The BCL excels at children's programming, and its Fab Lab is an extraordinary education resource with enormous growth potential. However, there is an identified need for more adult programming. Let's Talk About It, a reading and discussion program offered by the Idaho Commission for Libraries, is one such example. It is a program the BCL offered in the past with great success. We would like to explore the many other available options for public libraries that would be equally beneficial in providing expanded educational opportunities for adults. BCL used to offer quite a wide range of adult and family programming, and we would like to get back to that, ideally at least once a quarter within this next budget year. Other operational needs include book processing materials, office supplies, postage, shipping, primarily for interlibrary loan returns, a much used and much appreciated service. Given the current uncertainties in inflation rates, it seems prudent to budget in anticipation of further increases in these areas. Professional fees. This budget will mark a change in professional fees rendered to the library by Leonard Schulte, CPA Chartered. His office will provide the library with basic bookkeeping services for an extremely reasonable flat fee. Mr. Schulte has been providing the BCLD with highly qualified accounting services for many years. Because of this change in services from his office, he will no longer conduct the BCLD's annual audit. The cost of a new auditor is included in the budget request for this required expenditure. It also reflects that due to extenuating circumstances, a 2-year audit will be needed instead of just a 1-year audit. The BCLD will continue to retain Timothy B. Wilson Law for legal services, Omnia HR professional services, and security services to maintain public, staff, and building safety. The building. In this category is the BCLD computer equipment used by the public and the staff. The proposed increase in the 23-24 budget is to begin the systematic replacement of patron computers that are approaching the 10-year mark and the time when they will be unable to update to a new software system. 3 of the 4 front desk circulation computers are also need to be replaced. As expected, our insurance rate increased for every iCrimp member, not just BCLD. The library building was constructed in 1974, and more maintenance funding has been requested due to the concerns regarding potential roof leakage issues, repairing interior water damage, and for a refreshing of the upstairs restrooms. So that's the director's overview of the budget.
Very good, very insightful.
Okay, thank you, Ken. And then, as far as some of the various categories, I'll give you kind of a little bit of a breakdown. Our personnel budget for last year was $343,000, and this coming year it's $306,000, decrease of $36,000. So we've lost some part of that's due to the fact that we lost some long-term employees and then that have since been replaced. So so that salaried and personnel budget is the salary is actually lower than it's been in the last 5 years. The previous 5 years, it's always been higher. On materials, last year's budget was $49,000. We've increased that to $70,500, an increase of $21,500. So we're definitely making an increase in materials available to our patrons, which is about almost a 44% increase. The general fund is up, went from 15 to 28,000, and program expense was an increase of 6,000. So that's more programs that we plan on bringing to our patrons. And then postage, we increased that 2,500. We're over budget. That's probably about the amount we're going to be over budget this year on our postage, since the postage rates have increased. And then increase in the processing. Legal fees were $49,100 last year's budget. This coming year, they're $51,200. Included in that increase last year for audit services, we had $7,000 budgeted. This year, we're going to have a 2-year audit, and we did not spend the $7,000 this year, so the budget for next year is $15,000. So that's the majority of that increase there. And then under the building, previous budget was $41,000, and our current budget year we're forecasting $55,000, an increase of $14,000. Equipment increase is going from 5 to 10. That's those computers portions of that's computers we were talking about. Maintenance 10,000, and janitorial is going from 10 to 22, an increase of 11,000. And we're finding out that our janitorial expenses is also increasing, plus maintenance on the building. We plan on doing some bathroom remodeling, and then also I noticed even today we need to do some work on that walkway for Cub Winter where the drainage is along that. So anyhow, as the building gets more and more time on it, our maintenance is increasing. And then our insurance, we forecast, we budgeted $8,000 last year. Our current paying was $9,000, and we're anticipating that'll go up for everyone based on what ICRIM's telling their patrons to $11,000. So in total, our budget will go, last year was $497,104, and for this coming year, we're projecting $510,824. So, Aaron, do you have anything you want to talk about on that?
No, I think, I like the way that we're moving everything around. I mean, it was kind of a goal to get the materials. I like the fact that you guys are systematically going to refresh everything. So, and you laid it out really well. You know, these are our needs. You know, we're going to tackle them one little piece at a time and continue forward. So, I like the fact that you're going to tackle more programs and you're going to do it for adults too. The nice thing about adult programs is they sort of run themselves, right? If you find a couple of people that are maybe that's not a nice thing sometimes, right? But if you find people that are really interested in the program, sometimes they sort of carry that program along themselves.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Wendy.
About the education and travel budget. Is that enough for the trips that need to be taken? And I don't know if that's enough money.
Last year we budgeted $1,500, and this year we budgeted $5,000. So I think it probably will be, unless there's something I'm not aware of.
No, I didn't really know what was out there or what would be required based on what our staff is like right now. Julie's actually already working on a grant that's specifically tailored to attending some training sessions, so that would offset that cost. Lee and I had talked about, he wanted to see some of the staff get some more training, which I think is an excellent idea, but again, for this year especially, most of that I think should happen in-house or at least in-county. And those opportunities are so much more available now than they used to be, in terms of, a lot of times when we did training, we had to go down to Boise, at least. Now you can do a ton of that stuff over online. So when you're talking about expenses, what you're talking about is bringing in staff members to sit and just do training online instead of being out on the floor or processing books. So that's why I think that that's more than adequate, at least for this year, Wendy. Maybe next year it'll need to be a little bigger depending on, again, what's available out there. But that's one of the things that I do want to spend some time on and find out what is available and what fits into our library.
Okay.
And that's something you can pre-plan a year out. In fact,
Totally.
if you're gonna take a big trip and spend some money, you kinda wanna plan it a year out.
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Good question though, Wendy, I like it.
Lee,
Yeah,
any go ahead, Ken.
Just to follow up on that, it's like, yeah, there's a lot of programs out there right now for some of that online training stuff, you know. Give you an example, is Pinnacle is one of those companies that does online training for certain programs. The other is, you know, we need to, when we're getting that Fab Lab and the technology end of it, there may be times that we may need to, you know, make sure that we get our technical group up to par and, you know, be on the forefront. So, that's about it.
Okay, Lee, any comments?
I don't know, I've just, you know, this is kind of Lynn's first time doing a budget, and I thought she did a really good job.
Oh, I would agree, I think you did an
Yeah.
outstanding
Yeah.
job.
Thank you.
Right. Well,
I had help.
Right.
I guess the thing I would tell the community that's watching is, you know, we did end up with a little excess from last year because we had less costs in payroll. And the plan is to figure out where we can use it most effectively instead of just using it. So we have an old building, you know, it's probably gonna be involved in a lot of maintenance, but, you know, there is no hurry to figure that out. We just gotta do it smart and cautiously and conservatively, which is what we do. I just thought you did a really good job.
Okay, any further discussion on the budget?
No.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
Did we wanna see if,
I just want to make sure that these trainings are not sponsored by the American Library Association, right?
These what?
These trainings that you're going to be going to?
Most of them are ICRIP, and I'm not sure what other ones we may be doing.
There's, you know, there's a variety of different kinds of conventions out
Okay.
there, yeah.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
In terms of programs for children and stuff like that, do you guys take, like, would you get that all lined up for the year so parents and people in the community could see what the names of those programs are and take them into consideration and what they want their children to be involved in? Do you just do it like once a month, or would you do it all in one time and be able to show the people in the community what those programs are? Does that make sense?
Go ahead, Lynn.
Basic, and especially for the children's program, we have basic standard programming that we do every single month. We have story time, we have outreach, we have the science programs, that sort of thing. We usually plan it month by month, or we publish it and let people know month by month. Summer reading, winter reading.
Sure.
Way in advance notice so you can see what it is you do or don't want to bring your children into the library for, definitely. But to be able to plan it a whole year ahead of time would be too massive, because a lot of our programming depends on what's available and what we can afford.
Yeah, I understand, that's good, a month is.
Yeah, but
good
we're
amount of
really,
time.
really, Amy and Terry both are really good about making sure that that's up front and center, here's what's coming. And then that's also available on the website.
that's what I was gonna say, is it's,
Yeah,
if you
it's
go to the
always
calendar
available
on
on
the
the
website
website.
where it talks about what the library does every month, you know, it's, you know, there's a
And
lot of forewarning, I guess.
There is, and then if you see something on the website or on our little flyers that you're curious about or you want some more information about, you can always call and ask us,
Okay.
always.
Anyone else have any questions on our budget?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the 2023-24 budget for the Boundary County Library District.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'd second
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, we'll take a vote for approval of the 23-24 budget as presented. All in favor say aye.
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 Did you say aye, Wendy?
Yes?
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, budget is approved as presented. Okay, then we go on to our director's report. Come in.
Okay, we had an awesome turnout at the fair last week. Lots of people stopped by the booth and talked to us. I'm not sure how many more signups we had for the Imagination Library, but a lot of people were really excited to hear about it and took a flyer. Lots and lots of people were interested in the Fab Lab, and I think Amy has like a list this long of people who said, yes, please call me, I wanna have an appointment. So in that way, it was extremely successful, extremely successful, yeah. Our summer reading program, we're up to 10,500 books read, or chapters read. So that's going really, really well. Just in terms of, we had 75 new patrons last month. We had over 4,000 patron visits last month. Storytime is still doing exceptionally well. Lego Robotics has one more session starting this week. And then we're done with that, but Julie has talked a little bit about maybe doing it during winter break. And maybe doing it by appointment. So if we have a small group of kids, maybe they want to sign up and come in and just play with the robots for 2 hours and program and to see. We've got that equipment now.
Yeah.
So we're trying to figure out a way that, aside from just doing it in the summertime, that we can still utilize that on an ongoing basis.
I wonder, I mean, Terry was doing, is she still doing the reading route? Like she's doing TLC and stuff, I know, once a month.
You know, a lot of those places have fallen by the wayside.
Yeah.
We're willing to go,
Yeah.
but
You
I think
may
we need
look
to
into doing the same
regenerate
thing with
a list.
robotics, the robotics thing too.
to take
you know?
that too. Oh, that'd be a good idea.
You know, because I know,
Even if we just did a little demo.
I'm a little
that-
partial because my son's gonna get TLC this
Yeah.
fall, but I think
That's an
that would be
excellent idea.
a neat thing to plan with
Yeah.
some of those groups.
Yeah.
Well, then can we time with Friday, when the school starts up again, they have those Fridays off. Could that be
That's when
something?
Amy usually does her science programs because
Okay.
of that.
Okay.
Terry does 4-H Fridays during the school year. So yeah, Fridays, we do a lot of programming on Fridays because of that.
You got
Yeah.
that staked out.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question? Do you guys ever have speakers that come in to speak to like the robotics section or something?
We didn't, this summer, we didn't have any. We had the robotics kids from the high school actually participated in the programming, so there was a lot of interaction there. Seeing Amy's science programs quite often are outreach programs, and we have different institutions. We'll do a video conference, that sort of thing.
My son is actually the head engineer for Virgin Galactic, and he's been working there for many, many years. And he started out with math and then robotics and everything like that.
Mhm.
And I'm sure he's in Pasadena right now, but I'm sure he would do an online thing if I asked him. It's very fascinating and
Yeah, we've got that big TV downstairs that's hooked up to video chat, so they've done you've done a number of signs, like talk to astronauts.
Almost every
and-
single time, that's what she does.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
they, you know, you can sit in that little living room downstairs, turn on the big TV and interact.
So we
with
can have
people.
TEDx at the Boundary County Library.
It really is. When,
yeah, well, I could
That's
ask my
great to
son if
reach
you
out
guys
to
would be
people like
interested
him.
in that, because he's done it for years and he's really good at what he does, or he wouldn't be a Virgin Galactic engineer.
Yeah.
Whatever that is.
That's cutting edge. That's
I think they have
going to space.
800.
Oh, is that what it is?
They have 800 participants backed up for the next how many ever years to
Yeah.
send them up, and they've already done like 2 or 3 commercial flights. So-
They won the race to low atmosphere, but
I'm keeping my feet on the
I was
ground.
like, well, I'm gonna go to high atmosphere, so.
I don't know, I'm not gonna go, I don't care if my husband sends me back up or not.
I'll
I'm
stay
not
right
gonna
here.
Keep my feet on the ground.
Ultra low atmosphere.
$250,000.
System we have was because of the.
How much honey is that?
That's more than one
It was straight from barrels.
Anything else, Lynn,
First
on the director's report?
No, that's about it.
With this
Yeah.
last.
Thank you, Lynn.
Thank you.
About pulling.
Good job.
On February
Thank you.
20th,
Mention the staff.
international pulling.
I do.
Okay, review of the
Couldn't go
July
anything without them.
financials.
Person presenting and talks
Uh,
to the That's over.
I'm sorry, Wendy, we didn't get you the financials.
That was my fault.
For today. Wasn't in that packet.
It looks like some of the items that were, well, overall, were under budget significantly, but a couple of the items we're over budget on are postage, which is, we budgeted $8,000 or $9,717. We'll probably spend another $1,500 anyhow for the next 2 months. So that's, we made allowance for that in our next year's budget, the 23-24 budget. And office expense is over budget. We're budget 2,500. We spent 3,670. What's that primarily?
Honestly, that, are you talking about the postage or the,
No, not the postage, but it's the office expense itself.
because we needed some items for, book processing, and when I went to purchase them, they were good sales. Like, so I got twice as much stuff for half of what we would usually pay, so I took advantage of that, and
Stocked up.
I did, I really did.
Okay, good,
Yeah.
perfect, good, okay.
What, do you ship through USPS? Is that who does the interlibrary loan stuff? Is the
Yes,
post office?
always the post office, yes.
Is that required? Is that how everybody does it?
Most people do it that way, yes. It's actually cheaper because when you mail stuff through the post office, you get the media rate.
Right,
So
okay,
we already get a huge discount when all I'm mailing is a book.
right. Cause I mean, a lot of their shipping, they're reshipping it through
Other places,
UPS
yes.
or,
Yeah.
you know, they're contracting those guys out, so just wondering if it's worth trying to hunt down getting a
Something different.
UPS or
FedEx or.
FedEx account, if that would save us any money on all that shipping.
And I
or-
don't know about
It's
doing
worth
it
it.
as the library. I do know my personal experience, the post office is always cheaper.
Is it
It
really?
is, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I could spend some time researching that and seeing what's available out there, just for the sake of being able to say, really and truly, this is how it would work for
Well,
the
no,
library.
I mean, don't get the nice thing is it's like, you know, right across the street. You
Oh, yeah.
you guys just walk over there with the stuff all the time, right?
Yeah, and UPS
That
has started that
convenience is
thing
worth it
where
all.
the difference between is it a UPS drop-off or a UPS store?
Right, yeah.
So if it's a.
Well, you'd set up a pickup. They would just come by you every day and get everything, so you wouldn't have to make that walk if you were doing UPS or you get to the level where you make yourself a location for that drop off.
And that part of it, I don't know enough about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to.
And then I did it for shipping bugs. We'd always do overnight, single day air, right? So
Right, so
the
that's a
most
whole different
expensive kind of
ballgame
shipping
there,
that you
right?
could possibly get. But you know, you would just you make yourself a commercial account and become the drop off location for UPS at that level. But
Person could certainly explore it.
I mean, we can look at it, but I don't want to distract you from, you know, if it's gonna save us $100 a year, and you just spent,
Right, 6 hours.
80 man
researching,
hours
yeah.
trying to get it, then
Yeah.
And I know
definitely don't.
Postal Service has always been real low on books.
Because of that,
Because-
right,
yeah,
right.
yeah.
And some of it is because interlibrary loan has been extremely healthy. It-
Yeah,
it
and
has-
that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying. It's not gonna get less, cause
Right,
my wife just grabbed the one.
Yeah.
And it was great.
yeah,
And she actually returned it on time because she felt even more guilty.
because I talked to her. Do you still have that book? Oh, yeah. But then that's the other nice thing, we ended up ordering that book because I had ordered it interlibrary loan twice, and then she said, this is really good, you should probably. So that's the other nice thing about interlibrary loan is sometimes we find books through interlibrary loan that more people are actually interested
Yeah.
in. So, yeah. But that's that cost.
Any comments on on the budget?
I'm good.
How about Ken, do you have anything to add?
No,
Wendy?
No?
Okay. Let's see. Okay, I guess that was our last agenda item. Do we have a motion for adjournment?
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Okay, motion's been made to adjourn. Do we have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, motion's been seconded. No further discussion. All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we're adjourned.
10:35 a.m.